this because this is the way it's going to be.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh, wait a
Well,
second. No,
hey,
he's just
we'll ask the questions we were going to
no.
ask Stewart of
He,
Vlasta and vice versa.
no, he just disconnected. Sorry. Um,
Okay, I think we should start by
no,
explaining this.
I see Amanda Glue. That would be
That's
that would
Stewart's
be
wife. Yeah.
Stewart's spouse. Okay. Yeah, that was strange. That was strange. No, we are Tuesday the 5th of May. We
Are
were
we really? What day
yeah.
is it today?
I don't know. I'm not
What's
sure
today's
anymore.
date?
Dee.
Okay, break open the fourth wall and tell everybody how badly you screwed up this
I
morning.
didn't screw this up. I signed into Zoom and I sit there and I wait and it says admit Dave Bronstetter and I wait for that to come up at 10 a.m. But I saw
Right.
Vlasta Vrana come up and Vlasta, we're supposed to speak with Vlasta tomorrow and he has
That's right.
since disappeared. So he may have made a mistake.
You thought there was a run through of some kind? I mean,
Possibly. He's an actor. Probably wanted to rehearse perhaps.
oh my goodness gracious me.
We love
Well,
Vlasta.
the
We'll be
scary
talking to him
thing
tomorrow.
is,
This morning we're talking to somebody else, but I'll let you go ahead because I have a couple of
okay,
things. Please go
we're
ahead.
gonna talk to somebody else.
Somebody else.
This is frightening.
What? The weather conditions? Oh, a frost
Frost
advisory.
advisory
Yeah.
for tonight.
Yeah.
And you just finished the pergola.
I just finished staining the damn pergola, and
There it is. It's really quite elaborate.
yes, the snow will accumulate on the edge there, and just there were some snowflakes up in these parts overnight here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to have a picture of the obelisk,
Oh
but
my.
I didn't. So
Okay,
I
so
just
we've gone
thought
from
I'd
Downton
show
Abbey.
a picture. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
thought I'd show a picture of the eastern wing of your house,
Yes.
which deserves a fine pergola.
Yes.
And then there's some of the kitchen staff. And this caught my eye from Beaverton. No one in Zoom Parliament is going to tell Andrew Scheer that he's on mute. So my little attempt of humor.
He's
today.
quite the boy, Andrew.
Yeah. When he opens his mouth,
Boy, oh
so
boy.
there we are.
And speaking
That's
of
me
Downton
back.
Abbey, I was just listening to the BBC, and they're saying that period dramas are going to be very difficult to shoot now in the so-called post-pandemic world because of all the costumes and all the futzing
Like,
around they have to do.
Location shooting and everything. Yeah.
So
I wouldn't be surprised. So
people are champing at the bit.
yeah.
You can just imagine. Of course, they're already talking about a post-pandemic world, but we're not out of the first one yet. So,
Oh no, this is the first wave.
this is just the
But
first.
we're here to
wave.
brighten people's day.
This is why we're here. What I watched this morning, this appeared on Netflix today. Seinfeld's first full special in 22 years on Netflix.
22 years.
Yeah.
My God, has it been that long?
1998, and it's typical Seinfeld. It's about an hour, a little less than an hour. The first half of it is typical Seinfeld, but the third quarter of it is worth watching. There's a 15-minute segment in there on men and women, married couples, and yes, that's been done hundreds of thousands of times by every single comic in the world. But there's stuff in there that will make you cry.
Wonderful.
He bites into it. He's very energetic. He's 66 this year.
That's not that old.
It's not that old, but he mentions in the special that was shot last year at the Beacon Theater in New York that he's 65. So he's over 65, and he gets into and some of the bits about him and his spouse and how women's brains work and men's brains and are very, very funny. So that's worth a look today. And of course, when I thought about that, I thought about this, the only movie he was in or participated in for all intents and purposes. How long ago do you think this came out?
Renee Zellweger. Sonny just got funny. Golly. I don't know, 15 years?
13 years, 2007.
Holy mackerel. And Renee Zellweger and Seinfeld voiced for this thing, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
As did a couple of other members of the Seinfeld cast, I think. And It got mixed reviews. I think it cost something like 30 million to make, and it grossed 297 million or something. So Seinfeld laughed all the way to the bank once again. And the Bee movie got me thinking about this in the headlines of late now, the so-called murder hornets that are moving into at least the West Coast. Now, the piece on CBC here indicates that it's not as bad as the headlines make it out to be.
They're ugly little buggers, aren't
they are. They're enormous things, and they raid beehives and the like. I'm looking forward to finding out what Stewart has to say about this. But they're saying, relax. It's not as bad as it sounds. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun to talk about this right now. I guess it gets people's attention turned to other things, but they say that no, it's nothing to be terribly, terribly concerned about. So that
just when you think it's all happening, we've got the pandemic.
Yeah.
We've got the wasps or hornets. Are they hornets or wasps?
They
hornets.
Are hornets, I believe, and they call them murder hornets. And
they're in the lower mainland. They always remind me of the Killer Bees sketch on Saturday Night Live with John Belushi.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But I saw a huge picture, and this is not funny, but I mean, this is of biblical proportions. There are countries in Africa that are being overwhelmed by locusts.
Yes.
There are pictures of huge trees being torn down by these locusts.
So this is what you're thinking about around 6 o'clock and fucking locusts.
And then we had a schedule mix.
So, okay,
Plastic got on at 10 o'clock, and
he's not there.
Wait a minute, this isn't the right date.
I saw it pop up, and he said, "Wait a minute, what date is it today?"
He's back in bed.
Oh my!
Let's get Stewart on before he kills himself.
We can get Stewart in here. I cannot remember the last time I saw Stewart up on the 15th floor.
There's
is
Amanda.
it the 15th floor? There he
is.
Looking handsome and very not urban. No,
the country squire look.
Country squire. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. How are you, Stewart?
I'm doing very well, and you guys, boy,
we're doing fine.
Are we old?
You guys are my COVID lockdown survivor system. I turn on the Grumpod every day and put it on my Sonos speakers, getting tips on Sonos from you guys.
While you're tending to your bees, that's what sparked my interest a couple of days ago. I got to jump right into it. How did you get into beekeeping? Okay. First of all, we should introduce Stewart as a former CBC colleague, David.
Colleague of mine on Home Run. And we used to do the column a couple of times a week too, didn't we?
Yeah, I would program the music for you guys and for the show. What a wonderful show that Home Run show is that I remember. And all the great people
we had fun. Yeah.
Yep. And we did a column, and together I'd go on and we'd do hits and misses in the music business, and some of the more dastardly characters in the industry, and we'd give them their shine some light on it and play some great music. It was a hoot. Yeah. So
I remember, and I mentioned it yesterday. You took over from, was it Dave Ryan? Because I forgot Dave's name the last time we talked.
It was Dave Ryan. Dave and I sort of went back and forth, and when I left the CBC, he took up as well. He did it for a while. But I heard you guys talking with Yvonne yesterday about the old technologies and all the rest of it. When I left, I was still, there was nothing pulled off of the internet for music. Everything was still a hard disk. Or even vinyl. We even used vinyl. I remember
we had to keep a
turntable. We had to keep a turntable. And so, not to say that David didn't have a tough job, but it was easier, I'm sure, being able to just click your fingers and ask for a song, and there it was on the internet. So, yeah. So it was good fun.
Has your love for music followed you through into your country squireship?
Well, as my wife will attest to, there are a few too many Sonos speakers around the house. So I insist I insist on having music on as much as I can. I really enjoy that part of it. I can't say I've kept up with the trends or anything. I saw the musician, I think his name is Moby. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, but he was on Bill Maher's show, and as he said, the one of the problems with internet music is it becomes a nostalgia machine, really, and in that you want to plumb the depths of music that's still back there in the archives, great music that I'd never been touched by, and yet I can still get it. I can get it now, as I said, just snap the fingers and it's there. So, and I can have the music on as I work with my bees. So there's your segue.
Just one quick question about that. Do you have a favorite streaming service that you use?
I use the Apple Music most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also,
Radio?
Pardon me?
Have you tried Accu Radio?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
tons and tons. You know me, I mostly
Yeah.
listen to classical music and Baroque, and it makes him crazy. But late in the afternoon, but it's true. You stick with the eras, or the eras just passed when you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of stuff from the 1960s and early 70s that I play late in the afternoon, and then I'll play a lot of jazz.
Yeah.
Post-war bop and stuff like that. How many
Yeah.
speakers have you got?
Oh, you don't want to know. But
That many?
the best one is, I don't know if you guys have seen this one, the Move.
Yes, I saw it reviewed, and I was wondering, interesting to find out what your review is. Have you got one?
I watched a few of the reviews, and they all seem very positive, and it does hold up. And I've got we live on about a 3-acre property, wooded lot, and one of the things I've been doing to kill time is unfortunately cutting down too many trees, probably. So I'm off in the woods. The trees are getting very nervous about the virus. They wanted it to end, but I can take that thing out into the woods, and it still hooks into it's got a very good range for my Wi-Fi. And even if I leave my Wi-Fi, as I do when I go work with the bees, because they are in another location, it switches to a Bluetooth speaker. And so you can play music from your phone right to it. And the charge on it lasts forever. I've left it out overnight a couple of times by accident, even in -1, 0 temperatures, no effect to it. And the quality of the sound is excellent. So
okay,
I'm a
you guys
boy.
have got to enlighten me here for a second. I've not heard of the Move. I gather it is a
wireless, rechargeable, portable speaker that you can
Sonos speaker.
That you
yes.
can take it anywhere. I mean, it's an expensive piece
made
of
by
kit.
Sonos.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's I was tempted, and now, damn it, Stewart.
How much are
I've
they?
done it. Oh, a few $100.
I got the 30% discount that they're offering because I replaced a speaker.
Oh, of course, yes, they have a trade-in program, right?
Yeah, because that's one thing I will shake my fist at Sonos for. Some of their older speakers, because I've had them for a long time. They're now claiming that they can be obsolete for future use. Now I haven't felt the effects of that, but
Um,
they were taken to task for that, and that's a whole nother story. But
yeah. Well, I must have the oldest ones they have, but the Move ones, you found the sound quality as good as the ones that are hooked up.
In fact, I'd say it's better than their small cylinder ones, their Play 1s, and it's closer to their Play 5s. Yeah.
I'm surprised you were able to leave it out at night, because I am petrified. I put my Move out back here.
You don't have a Move, Dave.
Beautiful afternoon. I'm afraid
you don't have
of
a
getting
Move.
wet. What's that?
You don't have a Move. You have a Play 1, and it's
I'm petrified of getting it wet.
Yes. It is a more recent version, so yours will not be obsoleted anytime soon, David. So don't worry about it.
And the Move bills itself as an outdoor speaker. Like, they say that it can sustain a little bit of moisture and colder temperatures. I wouldn't say a Montreal winter overnight or anything like that, but so it's a more durable piece of equipment.
Well, coming from you, my friend, then that's a cinch. Okay, let's talk about bees. We were talking about I was talking about the hornet story just before we connected with you and all.
terrifying.
Where does the bee story begin with you? When did you get? First of all, how do you do this? You don't go to Walmart and buy a kit or something.
Well, you know what though? If you look online, people are getting started that way, becoming a hobbyist. And I have to make sure you realize I am a hobbyist. I'm as about as adept at it as maybe you are, Ivan, with carpentry, as I've heard from your efforts. Sorry.
Oh, surely you're better at it than that, Stewart.
No, we have our beautiful home that we live at in Hudson, in the village, and as I said, it's about 3 acres. But we also invested in a property up closer to Rigaud Mountain. Amanda is a big horse rider. She's always loved horse riding, so she bought what for a farm territory would be a smaller property, probably about 35, 40 acres. And then she built a small barn on it. We're not trying to take borders or anything. So anyways, we have this beautiful property, and it's in the middle of the equestrian properties of St. Lazare, of Rigaud. They're pretty famous, not far from Larry Robinson's old farm and the polo fields. So it's equestrian properties. And when Amanda was up there, she was approached by a very nice gentleman, maybe in his mid-70s, with the sweetest of German accents, Gunther Arnold. And he's an experienced beekeeper, and he came to her and said, your property is absolutely perfect. And he lives in the village of Hudson, so he didn't have much room. So he said, would you mind? I'll give you a cut of my honey crop. Would you mind if I set up my stands here?
Oh, my.
And yeah. And so Gunther had a couple of years doing that. And then I had way too much free time in my hands, according to my wife. So she suggested that I take some. We had this, this encyclopedia right there in Gunther, and he was willing to teach me. And so I started with him. And the first couple of times I had no experience in this, and this has never been something that I've decided. I always wanted to be as a kid, right? So I didn't know what was going to happen. He shows up there. It's a pretty hot day. He's wearing shorts. He wears a bee hat, with a mask. And I was waiting for him. And I've got industrial strength equipment on. I've duct taped my wrist to make sure nothing
You're
get in there.
ready for Chernobyl.
I'm
right?
terrified. I really am terrified of that first sting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would be well suited for today. And so he gave me all the instruction that I needed, and what he made me realize, and as I've met more and more people who do it either professionally or as a hobbyist, is that there's a lot of art form to it. You can pretend it's an animal husbandry science, and there are rules that you have to obey, but one person does it one way and another person does it another way, and one person puts the frames in this way, so
how many
kind of
hives?
like making wine, then part of it is artisan.
Sure.
Exactly, yeah.
How many hives or structures do you have?
Well, okay, so I guess Gunther has since retired and left it all to me, and we purchased everything off of him. So when he left, I guess I had about 12 or so hives,
Okay. All
hive
right.
stands.
Okay.
But there's a sad story. So the first couple of years without him, I did quite well. You always lose 1 or 2 hives in the winter to a Canadian winter. It's not like in the States or in New Zealand or places like that where they don't have to worry about a die-off. So I lost a couple of hives, but I would always recuperate, and then you can split hives and get your numbers back up. Well, 2 years ago I had 3 years ago I lost just about all of them. All of them died over the winter. And then 2 years ago I lost. I rebuilt everything. I had to buy starter colonies, rebuild them, harvest the honey. And then I lost, for 2 years in a row, I lost all of them.
That's
All the
discouraging.
hives, yeah. And it was a variety of things. There was a virus one year that I know, I could see the telltale signs of that. They are susceptible to a virus, and especially like humans, when they're stressed, either because of the cold or because they're not fed properly, they can be susceptible to it. And then one year, well, last year was a bad year too, and they basically, it was such a late a start to the season where you can't open up the hives too quickly because the cold will get in. And while the bees are fairly durable to cold, the eggs that are being planted that are vital to the rebirth of the season for them, they're quite vulnerable to getting a chill, as I call it. So you can't open them up until it gets to be a constant 10 degrees or so. And last year I looked at my records and I couldn't open up the hives until very late, like even maybe just now I was able to get in there. And as a result, they pretty well starved because the honey I had left them, the feeding I had done for them just couldn't sustain them through.
Oh my.
Well, on top of everything else, then this spring, the weather has been pretty lousy.
Pretty
I mean, we've
crappy
got
up
a
until
frost
now.
advisory. Stuart,
Yeah,
how's the colony now?
I have been able to get in. I did manage to get into the boxes early this year and put in their little cakes of sugar, basically. And you basically have to do it as quickly as you can. Open up the hive, lift the lid, and then you insert it in there and as quickly as you can. And so I managed, this year I started off with, I insulated and wrapped up 7 hives last year. And I knew that 3 of them were fairly weak because they were all starter colonies. And you can only get them so strong over the summer by the time that by the time the fall comes. So I got 5 through this year. And so I'm very happy, and they're very strong. That's the important thing. Like the activity of them is absolutely fantastic. If you want to see pictures, my daughter, she lives at the barn property, and she like her mom and dad, she loves animals, and she's trying to learn as much as she can about the bees with me. But she's an excellent photographer, and it's on Facebook. It's called Blackbird Meadows, and she's been taking pictures of us the last few days, and it's beautiful to see that the bees are clamoring around the entrance, and you can see on their back legs, you can see the little bits of honey, like bright orange pollen. I shouldn't say honey, the pollen that's on their back legs as they're going into the hive. So
Okay, we'll put
so
a
it's
link.
I feel quite happy about that.
Put a link up for that. And now, hornets, as if shit weren't bad enough.
Well, that's I've looked into it, and one of the drawbacks, obviously, of working with bees in Montreal is the cold, but that also protects you from a lot of invasive, tough species of bees and hornets. They rarely are able to take over a beehive, a honey hive. It does happen. It's not unheard of, but for such an aggressive bee like that, they're going to need, global warming, maybe, possibly. Maybe they'll make their way north, but I don't think it's a threat for Canadian. Then I think those other, sorry.
No, you finish up. Go
no,
ahead.
I was just going to say, I think those other things that I've lost colonies to, like the virus. There's a virus that I said they lost, and there's also a mite, a varroa mite that kills them as well. And I think those are worse. Yeah.
In the case of someone like Yvan and me, what we've noticed over the last several seasons is there are just fewer bees. I mean, you're obviously facing, I guess you could say, the challenges of a farmer or a grower.
Yeah.
But all we're seeing is this sort of suburban, you see a couple of bees and you go crazy now. What has happened to the species in this part of the world?
Well, I do know that in those 2 years that I had bad years, that that my connections with other masked men that I know were in the business, they said the same thing, that there were enormous die-offs, especially for people who were hobbyists or had smaller enterprises. The bigger places, not so much. The industrial settings, not as much of a problem. So I do think that there are stresses on beekeeping right now, I'm going to venture all sorts of theories here, and as I said, I'm not a scientist. As the orange one says, I'll leave it to the doctors. But really, one of the problems that happens is that industrial farming can cause problems. So one of the reasons Gunter always said our place was great was because it's in the middle of a natural wildflower fields. Very little monoculture. That most of the stuff is being raised for hay or for grazing. So whereas if you take a hive and put it next to a farmer's field, you think you're out in the country, you think it's the right place to be. But unfortunately, farmers are using chemicals, and they're also only dealing with one type of pollen or
right. No variety.
That's right, and the variety is the spice of life for them, apparently.
As it is for all of us. Stewart,
Yes.
You've been a mensch, my friend.
Well,
Hey,
I just gotta
hold on a sec. I've been meaning to do this.
One more
what was
question
it like the
from
first
Don.
time you were stung?
Oh,
What was it like the first time you were stung? Did you,
you
fall
got
over
the
and yell?
smoke thing too, don't you?
Yes. The smoke thing. It really wasn't that bad. One of them got under a glove, but I did have a good degree of swelling, and it's funny. It must be your body must acclimatize to it, because in subsequent years I still don't get stung up very much, but it doesn't do anything more than the initial.
Dramatic.
Yeah. But I'm a wuss. Yeah, I tell you, Gunter used to. I think he made him feel alive, as he got older. So.
Stewart, you're a mensch. Thanks, buddy.
Oh well, it's been great.
Yeah.
Don't I get to pick a vowel or anything? Is that it?
Oh, you can, but no, I'm looking forward to seeing those photographs, and I will pick up that link and slap it on our page too.
Great.
Because
it's been great seeing you guys.
Great to see you too, Stewart.
Okay.
Say hello to Amanda for us.
I will, and honey's on its way. That's your payment for getting me on the air.
Excellent.
Cheers, bud. Good to
Thanks,
see you again.
bud. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
Amanda is his spouse. Amanda she's a veterinarian, is she not?
Oh, yes, she is. As Stewart said, she's a great animal lover and horse rider, but she is a veterinarian of many years experience.
I think I met her many years ago. Very articulate and professional person.
What would you do if you got stung?
It happened to me when I was a kid. I remember it was a hornet sting, and
that's more painful.
That's
actually.
smarts.
Yeah,
that's smart.
That's a bugger. And did
and
you really blow up?
No, my father came up to me and he said, "Oh, you've been stung by a hornet," and he just went back to his beer. So, thanks, Dad.
Yeah, the empathy of a dad.
What is it? He said, "Oh, that's a yellow jacket. That's a bugger," and he went back to his beer. Thanks, Dad.
Well, we were driving back from up north, and we had a wasp in the back of the car, and my dad stopped the car, got my mother out, and said, "Well, go in there and get it." He wasn't going in it. Come on, get in. Come on, grumpy man. Oh, thanks, Dad.
Okay, well, this brings me back. You got to watch the Seinfeld special because you will laugh, I assure you. Yeah.
Okay.
He gets into, I'll give you one little example. He imitates his wife, imitating a guy who's the kind of thing like this. It's just, you'll be howling. I guarantee it.
He's still my God, he's
quite funny.
A creative genius.
Okay, so Vlasta has not logged back in, so I think we're good.
Now we're starting to do 3 shows a day, kind of like Jeopardy.
That's right. Vlasta Vrana will be with us tomorrow, and we will tease him about this, and he probably won't give a damn. And looking forward to that. Our thanks to Stewart, and I will put that link up for sure with the photographs because I'm intrigued to see.
I'd love to see it.
All right, buddy.
Okay, so tomorrow with Vlasta.
With Vlasta.
Take it easy.